What's going on, kids? It is Dr. Remy LeBeau, and I'm coming at you once again from the Excelsior to give you my very deep and insightful reaction to the latest season of Luke Cage. Luke Cage Season 2 of the Netflix run just dropped about a week ago. Today's Wednesday, was last Friday, so about half a week ago. Today's Tuesday. Sorry about that. I've been inundated in Netflix Marvel MCU-ness for the last few days, so it's always kind of a little jarring. You don't really know where things stand in terms of actual life when you're sucked into like the world of binging a show, especially a show that is part of like this really expansive universe of characters that we love so much, and all these stories that are being told and they're interconnected, and there's all these wonderful elements that run through all of them. So it just when you're taken by it, it just sucks you in and it immerses you, and it really does take you out of the normal kind of flow of everyday life. So yeah, today's Tuesday. Took me a few days to get to the season simply because of time, but I really enjoyed the season. I love the whole Netflix MCU connected, Defenders world that's been built. It was disappointing to hear recently that there are no plans for a second season of the Defenders, because I actually enjoyed the Defenders quite a bit. I really loved the notion that like all these different characters that were being developed in their own series would converge into like a Defenders series, and it was 8 episodes, and I really liked it. I really like seeing the characters together. I really like pretty much everything that's been produced in the Netflix series. I'm not a person that needs like crazy hardcore action all the time. Give me like in-depth character portrayals. Give me occasional, really, really exciting action, but like just a lot of really interesting characters and a world where these characters live in, and the possibility that characters can, be woven in and out of different series. And I'm all in, if you're doing it right, then you're doing it right. I mean, clearly Marvel knows what they're doing with the film universe, because if you've seen, I didn't think that would go away. Hold on, let me make sure my Luke Cage is still available. There we go. All right. Clearly, like, I mean, if you didn't see Infinity War and you weren't prepared for Infinity War by actually like watching all the Guardians films and Black Panther, which is here, by the way, and the Captain America films and everything, then you probably didn't get the full effect of it. But I, as well as I'm sure a lot of you, have been watching these films forever. Some of us, of course, me especially, have been comic fans our entire lives. And so seeing that culmination of all those storylines, all the potential of what the Marvel Universe can be, converging into Infinity War in the way that it did was amazing. It was mind-fucking-blowing. So filmic-wise, the studio knows what they're doing. Television-wise, I think they know what they're doing on Netflix. I actually did not watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this last season. I gave up on it. I hear that it's decent. The end of the last season was pretty okay. The stuff with Ghost Rider was all right, but I just didn't feel like there was enough MCU, like Marvel-ness to it that, I don't know, it kind of lost me, but maybe I'll go back to it eventually. Probably not, though. We'll see. I don't know. But on Netflix, Marvel seems to be doing a good job. Obviously on ABC with S.H.I.E.L.D. and then, that Inhumans show. I don't even want to think about that. So that they're not doing well on ABC, but they seem to be doing well elsewhere. If you've seen The Runaways was really good. I'm currently watching Cloak and Dagger. I'm enjoying it. So there's a lot that they're doing right in the television sphere, and certainly it all stems from like amazing success on Netflix with these series that they've been developing. Now it's been a couple of years. I remember when the announcement came in that Disney was buying fucking Marvel, all right? But the announcement, I remember, came that like, oh, Netflix is going to do the Defenders. They're going to do these 4 different characters, 4 different series, and it's going to converge on Defenders. And I was like, whoa, mind blown. Is this actually going to happen? It did happen. Super excited. Now it's continuing. We've got season 2 of Jessica Jones, season 2 of Luke Cage. We're going to get season 2 of Iron Fist coming up. We're going to get season 3 of Daredevil. I mean, there's just so much, and Daredevil has been fantastic. Oh, and we got The Punisher, which was like unexpected, but clearly they got John Bernthal as the Punisher and realized, well, we've got something really special here just in that character. Let's give him his own series. They did. It was fucking fantastic. So it's just amazing, like the fact that like it started off as just like this abstract idea, and it's been executed excellently. And like I hear people online talking about like, oh, the seasons are too long, they drag or whatever, but it's like it's a fucking television show, you know. Like, it's the critics, it's the online fucking people it's the people that comment on these things that tend to say these things, but it's like, it's not meant to be fucking watched like all at once, like as soon as it drops. It's meant to be watched when you can watch it, you know? But like, the storytelling and the unfolding of the story is going to be what it's going to be, and that's what I like about these shows, is like, they really take their fucking time to like give us these really great moments between characters that give every other moment that much more weight. There was so much character stuff in this season. And really, like, beyond the Luke Cage stuff, this was very much Mariah season. And like, I fucking love Alfre Woodard. Okay, I've loved her since I was a kid. I remember she was in a ton of movies. One movie that stands out for some reason is a movie called Heart and Souls. It was with Robert Downey Jr., and it was like, I think he died, and like his ghost was alive, and then there's these other ghosts that died at the same time, and like they were all united for some reason, and Alfre Woodard was one of them. And it was like a really touching sort of redemption story for, you know, Robert Downey Jr.'s character. And I remember when I saw her and him together in Civil War, I was thinking, damn, like, I'm sure they had a fucking conversation about it. Like, remember when we fucking did this movie, Heart and Soul, so long ago, and it wasn't a huge hit, and it wasn't obviously something that culturally, like, you know, left an impression. But it's like, there's a lot of history there with these actors that goes back, that now is kind of just in the present, sort of, you know, just a reminder of how deep their talents go and how deep their careers go, and why they deserve and are able to bring to light, to reality, like these amazing characters, flesh them out so well. Alfre Woodard did an incredible job with Mariah. I mean, it's not like, I can't even think of like a female like mob boss that is important in all of pop culture or any sort of medium. And Alfre Woodard, I think, might be the first, you know, and I think she was exceptional as Mariah. So, by the way, like, there's going to be spoilers. So 8 minutes. 8 minutes is when I'll put on the description. 8 minutes is when the spoilers will start to. Well, now I'm going to start to spoil stuff because I really want to talk about what happened in the season. So I'll mention that in the description for you guys. And so right now, if you haven't watched the season, stop watching this. Come back later. Finish off listening to my thoughts. Drop your own thoughts in response or whatever after you're done watching, because it will be an enjoyable time watching it. I guarantee it. But anyway, yeah, Alfre Woodard, she did an amazing job. I don't know how I felt about her particular character story coming to an end, but then again, we do know that in this world that these characters exist, people can be resurrected. And so maybe this isn't the last song of Mariah. Maybe we will see Mariah again. But if not, I'm so glad. Like, I love that, like, the season was sort of set up as, like, it's Bushmaster season. Bushmaster will be the villain. Bushmaster will be the one kind of driving the story, driving the conflict that Luke Cage has to deal with. But really, in the end, it was Mariah. Mariah was the big threat. And I love that she survived last season to become this huge threat this season. And again, I feel a little bit, I have mixed feelings about the fact that she was eventually put to rest at the end. But I love the way it fucking happened. And I love the ascension of her daughter into, I don't know what, We don't know who, but maybe you guys know. Maybe there is some comic pedigree that I'm not aware of, because I don't really know Luke Cage in the comics. Like, I don't know his world, I don't know his lore, I don't know who the characters are. So anything could be an element from comics that maybe leads to something bigger. And maybe Mariah's daughter is that. Maybe she is some fucking character that we don't know, that I don't know about, that I'm not aware about, that uses like voodoo and kind of herbally based magics to do who knows what. It seemed as though she was somewhat upset by the fact that Luke got the club at the end. But also she was very adamant throughout the series about her just wanting to like go back to her herb shop or whatever and just live her simple life that she was doing fine in before her mom tried to bring her into the family business. So it's unclear, but we do see obviously a big change in her character. And that was the thing. I really liked the fact that the story was about Mariah, and then you had this daughter that she had, and it really helped to kind of bring to light a lot of the motivations of Mariah, because she was very candid with her about everything that happened to her, including the fact that she was raped probably continuously throughout her life by her uncle, who ultimately impregnated her. Like all these things, like it gave so much depth to that character and complexity, and therefore just made it, that much more intriguing. Like not just what was going on in terms of the crime war between her and Bushmaster, and all the ins and outs of running her empire and the conflict with Luke Cage, but really like the fact that she had this daughter and she was trying to kind of rehabilitate her name as well as the legacy of her family, who had come from, just crime, wealth. But she was trying to convert that into something better, and her daughter was meant to be sort of a doorway to that, and really just a bridge to the future of a more positive role of the family in Harlem, and who knows, how much further beyond that, because I'm sure they would want to expand their foundation, or these women clinics that Mariah had created. And so it was such an interesting dynamic. So for me, like, this season was all about Mariah. Even though I love Luke Cage, I fucking love Mike Colter as Luke Cage. I think he's fantastic. I think Alfred Woodard's portrayal of Mariah is just, for me, that was exquisite. It was just exquisite, and I hope that people will see her as like this sort of legendary villain of a crime boss, a female crime boss, which is not something we've seen before, and she kind of puts her stamp on that paradigm that can then, be reused, that archetype that can then be reused throughout storytelling, because she deserves it, One thing that I hated about the fact that she died at the end was that, damn, like, I would have loved to have seen like a crime war between her and Wilson Fisk. Like her and or a partnership between them. I think that would have been intriguing if they did it like in another Defender series. Like had her maybe help Wilson Fisk to reascend to his rightful place as a crime boss, and then maybe that leading to conflict between them, or maybe not. Maybe romance. Who knows? Like, it could have been fascinating. I think, given the nature of what we know can happen with the Hand, and stuff that can happen in the Defenders, even though we're not expected to get a second Defender season, but you never know. We might get a second Defender season. Then it's still an open possibility. I hope the showrunners, everybody behind the Netflix universe, will consider that, because I think it would be great. But if this is again the last song of Mariah, really happy with her arc this season, everything that went on. But now let's talk about Luke Cage, man. Luke Cage himself, like he has some very interesting sort of arcs throughout the show. Certainly, we had the Claire arc at the beginning that kind of led Claire to leave him. That was great. Fucking love Claire. She's like one of my favorite fucking characters. She is amazing. I can't think of a fucking actress's name. God damn it! I fucking follow her on Instagram, and I've been a fan of her for forever. But anyway, actress amazing. I like that. Like she wasn't put into like a damsel in distress role. She was like, no, I want to be part of this whole heroic thing, and so she had a really nice sort of arc at the beginning, which kind of put Luke Cage on this interesting path of like of him kind of trying to figure out like what his role is in Harlem, and ultimately leading him to a very dark conclusion of like, well, I'm gonna try to work this whole thing, this crime management thing from the inside, which can, you know, who knows, lead to I don't know what, because in the end we see that Claire shows up at the club, and Luke tells I think Sugar is his name, to tell her to go home. So that reflects the fact that like his journey has been to go the complete opposite path of what Claire had wanted for him, or would have wanted for him, or like, yeah, because I guess a lot of what was going on throughout the season was just like a questioning, like what is his moral code? Is he a good guy? You know, is he a hero? You know, can he do that? Can he do the right thing? Or is everything going to lead him down the wrong path? Should he kill people? Should he not? You know, now that he's like the king of Harlem or whatever, is that a bad or a good thing? It's obviously going to be very complicated exploration of these ideas, both for the show and for the character, and I look forward to it when they do finally bring us a season 3, probably sometime next year, which I'll definitely look forward to. It's unfortunate that we're not going to see a lot of what could happen in this show. Well, at least from the character in another Defenders season, because that was nice to see, you know, Luke Cage in that season, in between the first and second season. So that means that we're gonna have to wait longer to see his characters again, which is unfortunate. I'm sure he'll pop up in the Iron Fist season, and he'll also pop up in the Jessica Jones, maybe. He didn't pop up in Jessica Jones season 2, which was weird. I thought that was a little strange. But maybe in season 3 of Daredevil, we'll get a reunion of the Defenders at some point. I hope so. I really hope so. I don't know why the Defenders is being shit on. It was wonderful. Come on, Netflix. Just fucking keep going with this shit. You're doing a good job. You're giving us exactly what we want, and we love it. Keep fucking giving it to us, because I will fucking watch the shit out of it. Anyway, Misty Knight. I fucking love Misty Knight, man. And Misty Knight and Claire had some good episodes at the beginning. Then Misty Knight had my favorite scene of season 2 of Luke Cage, which was her and Colleen Wing fucking kicking ass at that bar. Oh, that was fucking great, man. That was so good. Like watching both of them just like kick fucking ass in that bar. Like two fucking strong women going at it. Women of color, women, you know, it's just so wonderful. Like to see like all of that being taken seriously. Like go back fucking 20 years. An Asian woman and a black woman together fighting like a bunch of dudes. Like, no, they would have been victims. Like there's no way anyone would have been like, yeah, let's do that because it's fucking, it's legit. It's like, no, man, women, you know, like they can be strong, but they need a man to fucking do whatever. And I was like, fuck that shit. They're fucking strong. They can take care of shit. And the show portrayed that you can have fucking tough ass ladies kicking ass and it be fucking authentic and legit and totally viable. I mean, obviously we saw that in fucking Black Panther in fucking spades, with the Dora Milaje, and Lupita Nyong'o's character, like, and it happens a lot more these days. Obviously, it's just really nice to just know that like it's not like a fleeting thing, a fleeting trend of like, oh well, we'll kind of show these elements every now and then, but you know, it is always about the men. It's like, no, women are tough. Let's keep seeing them be tough because like, why not? Like, it's just a way of representing them that does reflect some women that actually do behave like that, but also the potential of all women, you know? So anyway, really love fucking that stuff. The stuff with Misty Knight and her arm, I thought that was great. Just like sort of the drama of her dealing with the loss of her arm from the defenders, and then her finally getting that the robotic arm, like bionic arm, which is fucking awesome. And then she was able to kick some ass with Luke Cage. Oh, I love that, man. But just that the actress that plays Missy, I don't know her fucking name, but she is fan fucking tastic, and she did a great job throughout season 1 in The Defenders, and now again. And again, I'm very much an advocate of maybe just like a her, Claire, and Colleen show or something like that, because I think they would do a great. It could be like their own Defenders thing, And I would watch it because I think it would be fucking great, because all three of them are great actresses. Obviously, they're really good at portraying combat and being able to pull it off in a realistic manner, and they've all got charisma, but certainly Misty does. Well, so does Claire, and so does everywhere. They all do. Anyway, love Misty's arc. She looked fantastic in that final episode, all dressed up in the bar. That was great. I love, like, the final episode was such a revelation of like what could happen in a final episode. Because generally it's like, oh, crescendo, But it's like, no, we kind of had the crescendo in the last episode. And then we had this amazing denouement, the falling action, which is actually more exciting than like fighting and shit. It was like the killing of Mariah by her daughter via that fucking kiss, which I fucking loved. The turning of Luke to the dark side in a sense, but not really, but sort of. And him actually running the club at the end, and him actually turning fucking Claire away. I mean, great stuff, man. And then what's his name? The Latin boyfriend was arrested. A lot of people were fucking killed that final episode. All of Mariah's hench folks. Lots of great scenes with Mariah in prison, talking to different people in different fucking ways. Her daughter, fucking the lawyer, Luke Cage, and then her death. Oh, I loved it. Bushmaster was a fucking interesting story arc. I like the actor. I like that they comment on the fact that it's really hard to understand Jamaicans, because it was really fucking hard to understand the Jamaicans. But that's, I guess, part of the portrayal. Like, you portray that element of their ability to communicate English authentically, and that winds up kind of just being difficult, and so be it. But in the end, like, we got the story, and I like the story, and I really bought Bushmaster as a threat. His power source was interesting, but there was a mention about him being born a certain way. Now, I haven't read this article on Comic Book Resources yet, but I saw the headline. It said something about Luke Cage just introduced a new way for characters to have power in the MCU, and I was like, being born with certain abilities? That sounds to me like mutation. I mean, bottom line, we are very close to Fox, the Fox Disney merger happening. It's not done yet. Comcast can still come in and make another bid, and Disney can Fox can take it. But I'm pretty much 95% convinced that it's going to happen the way we want it to happen, and that the MCU is going to get the X-Men. They're going to get fucking mutants. They're going to get Fantastic Four. They're going to get the Silver Surfer. They're going to get Galactus. They're going to get Doctor Doom. They're going to get fucking Magneto. They're going to get it all. And there are going to be mutants in this world. And it may happen after fucking Infinity War, Avengers 4, whatever it's going to be called, even though there are rumors that it's going to be called Infinity Gauntlet, which it would be very fucking cool, by the way. So the mention of Bushmaster being born a certain way, is that like sort of a first kind of like hint at what's to come? Like, oh, by the way, we're going to start revealing that people can be born with certain abilities in the MCU. Maybe. Anyway, really liked the portrayal of Bushmaster. The actor was fantastic. I've never seen him before, but he was great. Had a lot of charisma, super handsome and attractive, just like Mike Colter. So, like, you got that sort of, that even ground in terms of, like, the threat. And I love the backstory. I like the conflict. The brutality of a lot of what happened was crazy. Like there was a scene where he like cut into a guy's eye. I was like, damn, dude, I've not seen that I've not seen that particular thing done before. And the fact that we saw it and it was like so fucking clear is horrific and brutal. And I like that these shows have the balls to do these things, you know, to go that far, which is great, you know, because it gives them that much more weight as far as like the story gravitas, the authenticity, what's known as the verisimilitude, the appearance of truth, that all narrative media is trying to relay to us, and I think you know, just going for like really leaning into the violence is a great way to really solidify us as the audience, like our position as a spectator in this world that we feel is, you know, relatively authentic enough that we are just captivated by it. So it's cool. It's cool that they're going there. I know it might be a little difficult for the youngins to see shit like that. And it's a little difficult for us oldens as well. It's not easy for me to see shit like that. But I'm glad that they're doing it. I'm glad they're being bold with it and they're not being reserved. Because, you know, it's like you gotta be all in on this shit. Anyway, yeah, so the Bushmaster stuff, really loved it. I really love the fact that he was almost an insurmountable threat at one point to Luke Cage. Yeah, love that whole thing. Interesting that he survived and that he didn't kill Mariah's daughter. Is he gonna now partner up with Mariah's daughter? Because Mariah's daughter, I think she's on a path to becoming a Stoke. Because she said something about like you can't. She implied that there was a certain nature to a Stoke, and that even though she wanted, she wound up changing her name. She felt like there was certain aspects of a person of that family that you couldn't escape, like the brutality and like the need for power, and I think that she's going to embrace that and further become, you know, this kind of criminal threat, which, you know, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I look forward to more. Like that's the thing. It's like I'm done with the season and I'm left wanting more, and that's fantastic. Yeah. So overall, love this season of Luke Cage. Always love the Netflix stuff. In fact, I'm gonna watch it all. I haven't watched any of this stuff like more than once, and now I'm gonna watch it all again. I'm gonna start from fucking Daredevil season 1. I'm gonna watch the whole thing again because it's such a good. Even Iron Fist, folks. Like it wasn't bad. Like people are like, oh god, the first 6 episodes you can skip. It's like no, just enjoy them, man. Like it's building up the world of Danny Rand, and yeah, like it's not the degree that you would want it to be for like a representation of Iron Fist, but it's like you got to build to it, and I think they have. Like, well, yeah, that's the last thing I want to mention is like Iron Fist. So we got some really cool stuff with Iron Fist in this season. Danny Rand, him, and Luke Cage. The heroes for hire thing was sort of implied. Obviously, Luke Cage was a hero for hire this season. But Danny Rand came in for that one, or like it was an episode, a little bit more than one episode. And there's something really magical about these two together. I don't know if it was, I'm sure they must have tested together before they were both cast. They must have tested together because I'm sure they knew that they were going to pair them up often eventually. So there is some really great like charisma and synergy between them as a result of their charisma. Their individual charismas. What's the plural of charisma? I don't know. A question for another time. Yeah, I feel like there's something magical when these two are together, and I think we saw that in the episode that Danny Rand was in. I really enjoyed it, and it left me wanting more. You know, I want more Defenders, man. I'm sure we'll get Luke Cage and fucking Iron Fist, but what Luke Cage are we gonna get, you know? And is Danny Rand gonna start questioning like the decisions that Luke has made this season, or is it just gonna be all about whatever's going on in Danny Rand's world, which is usually kind of like mind blowing, right? Anyway, I think we have Iron Fist at some point coming up. And then Daredevil season 3, I think, is the one everybody's waiting for. But I think Punisher season 2 is gonna be filming soon, and so will Jessica Jones season 3, because I know it was announced. I really like Jessica Jones season 2, by the way, folks. I don't know. I like all of these fucking shows, man. Everybody stop being so goddamn critical. It should be faster. It's not a fucking movie. It's a TV show. Fucking, if they want to spend an episode fucking with a bunch of folks trapped in a fucking room talking about some shit, let them, because it gives us more insight into the characters. It gets us more connected to them so that when shit happens to them, we care more. What the fuck? I'm just saying. Anyway, that's my 30-minute, basically just kind of gush session about Luke Cage season 2. If you enjoy what you saw and you're looking forward to more, just press on that little button down there, right there. It says subscribe. Click on it. It's right below the screen. It'll keep you up with my latest videos and thoughts on all things related to the X-Men world, but really Marvel and comics in general, and maybe even sci-fi as well. It just depends on, and horror sometimes as well. Like I've been a fan of all this shit for a very long time. Before there was a fucking internet, I was all up on Starlog, Fangoria, fucking Entertainment Weekly, reading up on this shit. You know, before we could fucking have all the information at our fingertips. Like, I was finding out the stuff, you know, and I was reading the comics. I was watching the movies, you know, as they were coming out. Like, I've been in this world for a very long time. And so it is in my fucking blood, and I love talking about it because it is one of my favorite things in the world. So if you like what you saw, click subscribe. Keep up on my future thoughts on all sorts of random shit. And as always, I want to remind you that if you haven't already, you better put an X in that box, ladies and gentlemen, because ain't nobody checking me. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.